The South African Weather Service has issued warnings of widespread disruptive showers and thundershowers over parts of KwaZulu-Natal for Thursday. More than 50 millimeters of rainfall are expected in places which could lead to flooding of roads and settlements. The eThekwini municipality and the provincial government have placed disaster teams and emergency personnel on standby. A level 9 weather warning for disruptive rain has been issued for the northern parts and coastal areas of the province from Ballito to Mkuze. A level 5 warning has also been issued for other areas including Durban and South Coast, the Midlands and Zululand. Let's talk more on this then, and we'll discuss this further when I joined via Zoom by KwaZulu-Natal Co-operative Governance and Traditional Affairs MEC Sihle Zikalala. Very good afternoon to you, sir. Thanks for joining us here on SABC News.
Thanks for having us in your program.
You're most welcome. We understand that the province's disaster management teams are indeed on high alert. Talk to us about some of the emergency plans that the province has activated. Of course, we do understand that it is on high alert, but what have you done, as a precursor to that?
Well, thank you. According to the Weather Management Services, the forecast indicates that the coastline, those districts along the coast are going to suffer a rainfall which is at level of level 9, which is equivalent to the rain that we experienced in April last year. And that includes, or it means, heavy rains within a short period of time. We have placed all teams in place in high alert to ensure that we mitigate the effect of such rains if it happens. We have ensured that the Disaster Management Center in the province is activated, but also the disaster management centers in each of the districts. We have already been loud hailing in all wards that have areas that are disaster prone, which are low lying areas, but also in communities that are along the river banks. So we have requested that we get maximum cooperation as we call on people to evacuate whenever it starts raining.
Mr. Zikalala, all right, let's talk about, the areas that you are really concerned about, that you are closely monitoring. I'm reading about Ballito, from Ballito to Mkuze. I'm also seeing that, the South Coast, the Midlands and Zululand are of particular interest for you. Maybe paint us a picture really of the concerns as those who are actually watching and concerned about what's going to happen.
Yes, the serious areas that are going to be or might be affected by level 9 is Uku, which is Uku district, the lower South Coast and Potchefstroom. It's eThekwini. It is Umkungundlovu, the Pietermaritzburg, which is Umsunduze, Umshwathi, Richmond. It is Ilebe district, which includes Stenga, Bandeni, Mapumulo, and Dwetwe. It is the area of King Ichwayo, which include the areas like your Richards Bay and others, Mpangeni and surrounding. It is then Umkhanyakude. These areas, Umkhanyakude is around Mkuze, Chuzini, and all of those areas in the north. But also it goes to areas of Zululand. So those districts, the forecast indicates that they might be affected by level 9 rainfall. The inland, they are saying in the inland, we might have the level 5 rainfall, which is a bit less than what it's forecast for the coastal districts.
Yeah. Having now noted the warnings, I mean, what must people do? It might not necessarily be an option for them to, say, abandon their homes in anticipation of these heavy rains. So what exactly, are you advising?
Firstly, we request people not to drive when it is raining. Avoid driving, and therefore they must be home early. Secondly, let's not cross low-lying bridges at all. 2 or 3, let us, as we have been announcing and loud hailing in all areas, we have allocated community service centers where people could evacuate and be accommodated. And we will request that once it begins to rain, we don't wait. We proactively take proactive measures and relocate to nearby community halls or areas that we have been loud hailing and announcing to the public. In each ward which we believe it's risky, we have already been loud hailing and encouraging people to cooperate with the calls for evacuation. Yes, this is not about leaving your home. It is to say for these particular hours, be in a safe spot. Then you will go back home afterward.
Yeah. Just in closing, MEC, you spoke about the last year's April floods at the beginning of our conversation. And, we understand the province hasn't really actually fully recovered from those floods that took place last year. Let's talk about some of the lessons that you learned from those devastating April floods. But on the back of that, I also want to know what you did, what have you managed in the meantime to place all those people who lost their homes in permanent structures? They had been in temporary shelters and so forth. Have you been able to place them in proper structures at this time? Because I can imagine that one tragedy on top of another one that happened last year could be even more devastating, for the people of KZN, especially those who were victims of last year's floods.
Yes, you will remember that after the floods, we moved people to community halls, churches, and schools. We have managed to move at least 85% of those people out of halls to places where they are living as individual families. And those are places that were built after the floods. And we are left with less than 15%, which we are attending to. Okay. And the problem which have delayed or caused the delay is in the main the access to land, because in some cases we had to buy land from the private owners, and that takes its own process. But we are earmarking the end of January for completion of that process. It is quite correct that as we try to fix the damage of April-May floods, we are also continuously suffering. In that regard, you will build the infrastructure, whether it's trying to repair the road or the bridge, and it will then also rain, and then you will suffer damages. And we are trying to build better and in a resilient way. But the fact that it continuously to rain continuously is becoming a problem.
Yeah. All right. MEC, thanks very much for giving us your time here on SABC News. That's KwaZulu-Natal Co-operative Governance and Traditional Affairs MEC Sihle Zikalala.